passionate, driven, enthusiastic, euphoric. This is who we are as entrepreneurs. But how we leverage these incredible attributes to dream and build businesses that scale and grow is what this podcast is all about. Hello, I'm attorneypreneur Josh Brown, and welcome to Franchise Euphoria. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Franchise Euphoria. Josh Brown here. And before we get to the actual interview today, I wanted to tell you about something I've been working on for the last probably 2+ years. As many of you know, I'm a franchise attorney, and I spend a lot of time helping people buy great franchise systems, or what I hope will become a great franchise system. And to that end, I spend a lot of time reviewing the legal documents, what's called the franchise disclosure documents, that every franchisor is required to provide to prospective franchisees. Well, over the years, I've realized a lot of really important elements of each and every franchise disclosure document, what's included, what sometimes is not included, questions to then take back to your franchisor, red flags, and perhaps most importantly, a breakdown of what these complicated legal documents actually say in an understandable format. Now, what I've done with that is I've created a guide and audio series. It's called A Lawyer's Guide to Buying a Great Franchise. And it comes with about a 50-page nice PDF that breaks down every aspect of the franchise disclosure document, and also comes with audio case studies that further breaks down some of the more important elements of the FDD. Now, of course, if you want to check that out, and I would love for you to do so, just head over to indiefranchiselaw.com/guide. That's indiefranchiselaw.com/guide. And of course, I'd be remiss without saying that this is not a substitute, nor is it legal services. It is an educational guide, but I really think it's going to help you along your journey in finding the franchise that's right for you. Today, we're going to talk about something I just really love, and that is, should you franchise your business? Right? I get that question all the time, speak with a lot of entrepreneurs, and it's something that really there's a no one-size-fits-all answer. I know you probably hate to hear that, but that's the truth. Every business is a little different, and perhaps more importantly, every business owner is different. And so today I'm going to dive in to try to help you determine whether you should franchise your business or remain an independent business. Well, to answer this question, I'm going to ask you to reflect on yourself, your business, and ask 5 specific questions that we were all taught at a very young age: the who, what, where, when, and why. Now, bear with me for a second. You're probably thinking, wait, shouldn't you be asking me how much revenue my business makes, or what the demand or my services are, or some other measure that demonstrates how successful my business actually is? Well, sure. I mean, these are factors, as well as a million others, that all are important to consider before you make the final decision to franchise your business. That is why it's so important to work with experienced and knowledgeable attorneys, accountants, and other professionals when you're setting up a franchise system. But the purpose of today's podcast is to just help you learn if you should consider franchising as a serious option for your future growth, or if, for the time being, you should remain independent. Admittedly, my questions to you are more precisely phrased as, number 1, who are you as a business owner? Number 2, what are your business goals? Number 3, where do you want to start franchising? Number 4, when should you franchise? And number 5, why are you wanting to franchise? Being able to answer these questions will help you determine if the franchise model may work for your business. So let's take a closer look, a deeper dive at each one of these questions. Number 1, who are you as a business owner? One of the most important things to understand about the franchise model is that your role as an owner will change once you decide to franchise. That is why you need to take an honest look at who you are as a business owner. There's a big difference between working in your business and working on your business. A business owner who's working in the business is helping to complete the day-to-day tasks of the business. A business owner who's working on the business is doing the things that help the business grow, such as building brand recognition or recruiting new clients. In other words, a business owner who's working on the business has systems and processes in place to handle new business without the owner's assistance. So let's look at an example. Let's say a person owns a restaurant. If the person orders the ingredients, cooks the food, handles the cash register, deals with the employees, and really deals with all the other hands-on things that's involved in making that restaurant run, that person is working in the business. If the person has taught employees how to order the ingredients, cook the food, handle the cash register, somebody hired for marketing, somebody to manage the staff, designing the new ads, and building a clientele, that person is working on the business. In the real world, it might be hard to tell whether you're working in or on your business. Many of the small business owners that I talk to feel like they are doing everything, which most likely means they are working more in their business than on their business. You need to understand that if you make the decision to franchise, your priority will no longer be working in your business. You will be working on your business. If you feel that you, as the owner, are doing everything to make your business work properly, you are most likely not ready to look at franchising. However, if you have the proper systems in place that allow you to work on your business, and you could teach someone else how to open, run, and operate the business by utilizing the same business model, you could be ready to look at franchising as an option. Number two, what are your business goals? Next, I'm asking you to think about the goals you have for your business. I'm always surprised by the number of business owners I talk to who have not set any goals. As you can imagine, most people say their goal is something like, I want to grow my business. Well, growing your business is an obvious goal, but like with most things in life, the devil is in the details. I'm a firm believer that bigger does not always mean better when it comes to business growth, which is why it is so important that business owners set measurable and achievable goals and then develop a strategy to achieve them. So, what is it that you want your business to become? Do you want to expand your client base? Do you want to generate more revenue? Do you want to open multiple locations? Franchising can help you achieve each of these goals, but only if it is done strategically. Of course, franchising is not the only way to achieve business growth and success. In fact, many business owners may find that franchising is neither the fastest nor the most efficient way to grow a business. As a franchise attorney, I obviously believe in the power of the franchise model for growth and development, but I also realistically understand that this model may not be the best option for every business. So sit down and set goals for your business, then ask yourself whether the franchise model can help you achieve those goals. Number three, where do you want to start franchising? People often believe that setting up a franchise system will help them achieve nationwide recognition quickly. That is not usually the case, though. So it is important to begin thinking about where you want to start franchising. If you have a business based in Indiana and you want to franchise in California because you've always wanted a vacation there, I might have bad news for you. Likewise, if you own a business in Indiana and someone approaches you about opening a franchise location in Florida, you may want to hold off. In most cases, it just isn't practical at the outset to use the franchise model to expand to one or two locations across the country. Do you really want to be a plane ride away whenever something goes wrong at the franchise location? Of course not. That'll be expensive, time-consuming, and especially if you're just starting the system and don't have all of the problems worked out. I subscribe to the theory that before you expand outward, you should try to grow in your own backyard. Try dominating the 100-mile radius around your original location first. Break those out into geographic territories. See what that would look like, and then look towards franchising for future locations. Growing in your own backyard makes good business sense. You are a car ride away from troubleshooting and resolving any problems that might occur within the system. So begin by opening multiple locations and expand to franchising locally. After you've developed a strong franchise system that works in your area, you can expand regionally. From there, you can continue to grow and grow your system. Number 4, when should you franchise? Just like any other business opportunity, when it comes to franchising, timing is everything. So, how do you know when you are ready to franchise? First question I usually ask people who want to franchise their business is whether they have opened multiple locations. To me, this is an important indicator of whether a person is ready to seriously consider franchising a business, because it demonstrates that the business model can operate without the owner's assistance. If you operate multiple locations, you are not usually running the day-to-day operations of the business. You've most likely delegated some of your control to other people because there's no possible way for you to be in 2 places at once. In other words, you are probably working on your business rather than in it. This tells me that you might be ready to transition from the role of business owner to franchisor because you understand the challenges that you face when opening a new location and have developed the skills and resources necessary to help potential franchisees achieve success when they open a new location. While I often suggest that people try to own and operate multiple locations before setting up a franchise system, I'm also very much aware that there are franchise systems that have been successful without following this rule. However, in my experience, running multiple successful locations can better prepare you for the mindset required to become a long-standing franchisor. Number 5, why are you wanting to franchise? Finally, I want you to consider the reasons you are really wanting to franchise your business. Some of your reasons, we may have already discussed, but what is it that you are really desiring? What are you trying to achieve as you grow your business through the franchise model? I mean, the answer I hear the most is that people want to franchise their business to alleviate economic pressures. And on the surface, a franchise system sounds awesome to some people because they think that as a franchisor, they will get to create this system and then other people invest their time and money into the system, which creates profits for everyone. In other words, some people believe that once a franchise system is in place, most of the work is already done and money will easily flow in. Unfortunately, that is not always the case, and running a franchise is not that simple. In most cases, becoming a franchisor will not alleviate any short-time economic pressures. In fact, setting up a franchise system can be an expensive process. In order to become a successful franchisor, you have to be constantly looking at ways to improve your system. Think about all the things that you had to do to make your business successful. You had to choose a great location. You had to build brand recognition. You had to ensure customer satisfaction. You had to make sure that you had adequate quality controls in place. You had to teach other people how to do the day-to-day tasks. As a franchisor, you still have to do all of these things, but on a much larger scale. And as a franchisor, instead of running one location, you're now running the whole system. So if you're looking to alleviate economic pressure, it might be better to step back and try to tweak your own business model before moving into the franchise space. In conclusion, there are many different things to consider when you make the decision to franchise your business. It is so important to talk with reputable professionals who can help you understand whether franchising is right for you and your business. If after hearing this, you feel like you may be ready to talk to somebody, reach out to them. And there are so many people in the franchise space, me included, who are willing to talk to people about their options before they make the decision to move forward. It is much better for you to take more time on the front end to research an opportunity to franchise your business than it is to just dive right in and hope for the best. If any of the information you heard today you found meaningful, helpful, head on over to indyfranchiselaw.com. That's INDY franchiselaw.com. I've got a couple really cool white papers. One is what to know before you franchise your business. So if you're out there thinking about franchising your business and found today's episode helpful, go ahead to indyfranchiselaw.com and check out that free resource. Additionally, if you're thinking about buying a franchise, I've got a great resource on what to know before you buy a franchise. So head on over to indyfranchiselaw.com, INDY franchiselaw.com. If you're enjoying this podcast, if you're enjoying the value that you're getting from this podcast, I'd also invite you to go to iTunes and provide me with a rating and review. It always helps for visibility on the podcast. So thank you so much for your support, and hope this episode was helpful to you.
Thanks for being with us today on the Franchise Euphoria podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please be sure to go to iTunes and provide a review. Also, please remember that although Josh Brown is a licensed and practicing attorney, nothing contained in this podcast should be construed as legal advice, because it is not. The information contained in this podcast is general and educational in nature, and none of it should be relied upon as legal advice. That being said, if you have questions for Josh and would like to contact him, please email him at josh@franchiseeuphoria.com. Thank you so much for listening, and we hope you tune in to our next weekly episode.